Welcome in to News and Views with Tom Lamprecht. The stories you've heard and the ones you need to hear.
The G7, I'm sorry, I'm going to get in trouble with staff if I don't do this the right way. I'm going to get in trouble with my staff. Yeah, go ahead, but I pretend that you didn't answer you.
When you're having these conversations with European allies who are very concerned...
120 days. Give me a break. Need time.
A problem, a big one.
Your life, your values, your voice. This is News and Views with Tom Lamprecht on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
All right, welcome in. The whole gang is here. A new week. Happy Flag Day. President Woodrow Wilson in 1916 and President Calvin Coolidge in 1927 proclaimed June 14th as Flag Day. Congress codified the observance in 1949. In 1958, the addition of the state of Alaska to the Union, a 49th star had to be incorporated. In response, I should have saved this for political trivia. In response to a history assignment, a 17-year-old student by the name of Bob Heft decided to design a 50-star American flag representing not only Alaska, but also Hawaii, which everyone expected would soon become a state, cutting up a flag from his grandmother and reassembling it with $2 worth of blue cloth. He designed a 50-star flag and received a B- on the assignment. His teacher jokingly promised to change the grade if Congress adopted his flag. He got on his bike, went to his congressman's local office, pitched the design. The flag was officially adopted July 4th, 1960. Heft's teacher kept his promise, changed the grade to an A. Happy Flag Day. Yeah.
Wonder how long the Biden administration will allow Flag Day. You know, it's Flag Day represents, American flag, they think represents
probably
imperialism and all this crazy stuff.
They'll probably drop the L. It's also Donald Trump's birthday. You just now got that, didn't you?
My mind wasn't quite going there.
You just now got that.
Thank you.
Is that National Cigarette Day?
There you
Nope.
go. Changing gears, though, it is Donald Trump's birthday, 75 years old. So happy birthday, Donald. Point of privilege here. Our Cliff Godwin, our baseball coach, congratulations to the Pirates. They had a great season. Very disappointing. Sad that. And by the way, what 2 marvelous games they played.
Yeah.
I mean, they lost, but 2 great games. And in the post game, Cliff Godwin just said when he was. I'm paraphrasing here. He's asked about the officiating of the game. He said he is not allowed to make comment. We are. Look, I know this is not a sports show, but that was the worst home plate umping I've ever in a long time.
It's the worst I've ever seen beyond the high school level. I mean, really, I've seen some bad ones in high school.
I mean, this is the best you can get for the super regionals.
And look, these 2 pitchers for Vanderbilt, I mean, they're top 5 draft picks. I mean, they are phenomenal talents. But their strike zone compared to the strike zone for the East Carolina pitchers, and I'm an ECU fan. I think the world of Cliff Godwin, consider him a good friend. I know most people can't be objective, but I'm a pretty objective sports participator, particularly baseball, because that's my sport that I really like. I was pretty objective in that, and I don't see how anyone with a brain could not see it. I mean, the announcers, the ESPN announcers, even made a couple of comments about it.
Yeah. The young man who was pitching the second, was it the second day?
Jack Leiter with Vanderbilt, or
no,
our
for
guy,
ECU.
Carson Wisenhunt.
No, that wasn't Carson.
Cam Colmore from here in
Cam,
Greenville. Yeah.
Cam. Mm-hmm. Just before they pulled him, he ended up walking an individual, brought in another run. The bases were loaded.
Well, the umpire walked him.
The umpire walked him. That is the darn truth. The umpire walked him. It was unbelievable.
The catcher, Seth
Did you
Goodell.
see him? Yeah. Did you see him looking up and just rolling his eyes?
I won't get into private conversations with certain people, but I did comment on. I was very impressed with the composure of the coaching staff and the players, because I can tell you, I would have been thrown out of the game. I'd have tossed.
Yeah.
If I was a catcher,
Yeah.
I would have been tossed. I'd have thrown my mask off and I'd have said,
Are you crazy?
WTF.
Are you crazy? I mean, down the middle, right down the middle of the plate, and
I would have been like Crash Davis in Bull Durham. I would have said the word that gets you tossed, without a doubt.
It'd been worse than that, Clark. Anyway, congratulations. How about the Wolfpack though? Going and beating Arkansas
and Virginia. They won today with a grand slam home run.
They're
going. They're going.
They beat Baptist School down in Dallas.
Dallas Baptist.
Yeah.
Yep. So you got NC State, University of Virginia, and if Notre Dame wins tonight, that'll be three of the 8 out of the Atlantic Coast Conference. And Virginia was not expected, but Virginia was a 3 seed playing a 3 seed in the Super Regional.
Yeah.
So they're not playing a top national.
North
seed,
Carolina State was like the bottom of the barrel playing the top. And somebody was making the comment that to be the number 1 seed is sort of the curse.
Yeah.
The number 1 seed hasn't won in like 20 years.
NC State's a good ball team. They were taking their lumps early in the season because they're young, but NC State's got some talent, and they're going to be really good next year.
So is ECU.
This is 103.7. This is 94.3, but
on with politics. But we had to get that out of the way.
Hey, baseball's important in Greenville.
It is. It is politics in Greenville. Carolina Journal is reporting the Ted Budd for U.S. Senate campaign today released survey results that revealed Ted Budd seeing a 45-point net positive swing and surges to a 19-point lead when likely Republican primary voters learned that President Donald Trump has endorsed Ted Budd for U.S. Senate. When this happened, we said this is going to help Ted Budd big time. Frankly, this is a bigger help than I thought. According to the June 9th, 10th Meeting Street Inside survey of 500 likely North Carolina primary voters statewide, former Governor Pat McCrory continues to lead the race for next year's U.S. Senate nomination. McCrory gets 45%, 19% for Ted Budd, 12% for Mark Walker. Some 23% of those polled remain undecided. Back in April, McCrory had 48, Walker had 13, Ted Budd had 9. Budd is the only candidate to see his ballot's number grow in the past 2 months, more than doubling, in fact, said Rob Autry of Meeting Street in a memo promoted by the Budd team. Just 20% of those polled knew that Trump had endorsed Budd during a June 5th speech. Now, that's a little surprising. I mean, I know everybody out there is not political junkies like we are, but that still surprises me a little bit.
Well, unless they're watching Fox News or
listening,
I mean, they're not
to a program like this.
Yeah, they're not going to get it on mainstream media.
Once voters learned that, indeed, Donald Trump had endorsed Ted Budd, support in the race flipped to Budd. Quote, when we asked Republican primaries voters who they would vote for if they knew Donald Trump spoke at the North Carolina Republican Party convention and announced that he was endorsing and supporting Ted Budd for the U.S. Senate, Ted Budd surges to a 19-point lead over McCrory and a 38-point lead over Walker. With information about the endorsement, 46% of those who polled supported Budd, while 27% supported McCrory. Walker's support dropped to 8%. The percentage of undecided voters dropped to 18%. This one piece of information turns McCrory's 26-point lead into a 19-point deficit, Autry noted. The Trump endorsement has other notable impacts. Fully 30% of McCrory's initial supporters moved back to Ted Budd, or moved to back, not back to, but moved to back Ted Budd after hearing about Trump's endorsement. 34% of Walker's initial supporters do the same, according to Autry's memo. Trump's endorsement pushes Budd to a 25-point lead among core primary voters that are base Republicans who are very conservative, and puts him 11 points ahead of McCrory in the former governor's region-based, the Charlotte media market, according to the memo. 11 points ahead of McCrory in Charlotte. The poll also tested the former president's Republican convention comments about the 2022 race. The survey asked voters whether they agreed with Trump that you can't pick people who have already lost 2 races and do not stand for our values. 2/3 of the voters, 67%, agreed, with 47% saying they definitely agreed. More than 2/3 of undecided GOP primary voters, 68% agreed with the former president. Trump didn't name McCrory, but his comments were pretty obvious. So, that endorsement, and a lot of people, it'd be interesting to find out, do you think it was appropriate for Donald Trump to endorse at the convention? I wonder what that response would have been. But, yeah, maybe Donald Trump still is the kingmaker.
Yeah, I think, it's still early, but I think...
Yeah, it's way, way early. I was going to say that.
I do think it's probably... quite possibly he could have buried the other candidates other than Bud and McCrory. I do think it's kind of narrowed it to a 2-person race, even right now, because they're going to get the most attention.
Walker might want to consider running for Ted Budd's congressional seat.
But you know what? To me, what's encouraging though, and some people talk about McCrory being an establishment guy. I mean, really, the governor was his first political job other than the mayor of Charlotte, and I mean that's a
he was city council mayor.
Yeah, that's not a lifetime politician.
Right.
I mean, he was in the private sector, but it's encouraging that our top 2 candidates for Senate are people, not established in Washington for 25 years.
Right.
Same thing with Tom Tillis. Tom Tillis went straight from the North Carolina House to there. And that, to me, that's just a lot better than someone that's just
a lifetime politician.
Been in D.C. for forever.
For sure. Yeah, if I was Walker, I think I'd be thinking I might call up Ted and say, hey, you know what? Would you endorse me for your seat, your congressional seat? Because remember, Ted Budd and Walker, they got gerrymandered into both being in the same district, and Walker went to Ted Budd and said, hey, I'm thinking about running for the Senate, so I'm just going to let you have the congressional seat. Walker might want to consider running for that. I think Walker's done. I mean, and again, though, it's a long way away. It's next November, not this November, so it's a long way away.
Yep. It's depends on who gets the most money, it boils down to.
Also in state politics, Friday, by the way, I had a sort of a business emergency on Friday. That's why we weren't on the air. But I did want to mention that Roy Cooper had his weekly news conference, and he made national news. Gateway Pundit picked up on it. North Carolina Democrat Roy Cooper refuses to give up emergency powers even when there's no emergency. Roy Cooper refuses to give up emergency powers he grabbed at the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, and Republicans in the North Carolina General Assembly are tired of it, according to the state president pro tem, Phil Berger. He posted on Friday, Governor Cooper just extended his emergency order yet again. There is no emergency. This has got to end. We're working on legislation action to curtail future abuses by the governor. Even WRAL reported on the matter. As other states end their state of emergency orders amid the waning coronavirus pandemic, Governor Roy Cooper said Friday he wants to keep North Carolina in place. Yeah, you think?
He loves to be Lord Cooper, doesn't he?
Yeah, he loves to be the Barney Fife of North Carolina. Hey, let's take a time out. When we come back, we are going to have a special guest. We're going to be talking about there's 2 voting bills out. A lot of people are familiar with H.R. 1, which was called the People's Act, for the People's Act. But there is another bill out there, H.R. 4, which is probably just as dangerous, maybe more so. Stay with us. We'll talk about that when we get back.
And we're on location at one of my favorite places in the whole planet because this is some of the best food you're ever going to eat in your life. We are at Nino's on Red Banks Road in Greenville. It's one of my hangouts. It's one of the places that I love. I got my friend Pietro Pasalacqua. How'd I do?
You did great.
Let's talk about the food. What makes this place? I know it's special Italian from authentic Italians, but tell us why it's so special.
Because everything we do, it's really what we came up on the menu from what we did at home, from my grandparents, my parents. So it's exactly what we eat at home, and that's the way we cook. That's why it's special.
And the atmosphere in this place is special also. From the bar to the two dining areas. You got two different dining areas, and now the weather's nice, so there's going to be a lot of folks that want to eat outside.
Yeah, we have 2 rooms. One room is designed a little different. We're also working on the patio to make it more attractive and more useful in the summer with a cocktail service. And we're always improving our services.
And, of course, my friends here, my buddy, Chef Massimo, who I love, and Sal and Pietro, you guys do a great job here. Not just Italian, but I had a great pork chop here the other night. You got great steaks, too.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we're also adding filet mignon in the future on our menu. And Massimo is coming out with a really good side dishes for it. And so we're really excited to come out with new meats and fish dishes.
All right, Nino's on Red Banks Road in Greenville. Same people that give you Marabello's and the great pizza that you get at Marabello's, but this is fine dining at Nino's. If you haven't been here, you don't know what you're missing. Come see them at Nino's on Red Banks Road. And Pietro, what is that famous saying about Nino's?
The food that you enjoy with people that you love.
Top Dog Academy is Eastern North Carolina's complete dog training facility. Top Dog provides an excellent environment for dogs of all ages with training services and work week daycare. Top Dog is located on Highway 43 South, just 4 miles from Bells Fork, and features a comfortable, healthy environment and a spacious facility for daycare and a brand new, beautiful facility for training. Call 752-8215 or visit TopDogOnline.com.
Come on out Highway 43 South to Top Dog Academy, where we know dogs.
Living easy is the sound of children laughing as you make memories with neighbors and friends. It's the sound of nothing at all. It's the smell of the salt air. Hear the waters against the marsh grass. See the beauty of our coast. Bow Coast, located in Beaufort, North Carolina. Southern living's best.
This is your Drive at 5 and ENC with Tom Lamprecht. Welcome back to News and Views on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
Welcome back in. 22 minutes past the hour. Ken Blackwell is an American politician, author, and conservative activist. He has served as the mayor of Cincinnati, Ohio, the Ohio State Treasurer, and the Ohio Secretary of State. He was the Republican candidate for governor of Ohio in 2006, the first African-American majority party candidate for governor of Ohio. He is currently a senior fellow for the Family Empowerment with the Family Research Council. We had Ken on with us back during the presidential election, and good to have Ken back with us. Ken, welcome back to News and Views. Good to have you. Tom Lamprecht and Benny Hardy are with you this afternoon. And we want to talk about these voting right bills. The Democrats up in the House and the Senate are pushing, everyone is very familiar with the, quote, For the People's Act, H.R. 1S1, and rather controversial, where basically the Democrats have said, hey, you know what, we're going to take over the Constitution. We don't care about that. We're going to take over, and we're going to create all the laws for all the elections up here in Washington, D.C. While that is going on, everybody's attention on that, there's another bill out there, H.R. 4, which is the John Lewis Voting Rights Bill, and that's probably as dangerous and maybe more so. Ken, explain the second bill, H.R. 4. What will that do?
Well, let's say S1 and H.R. 1 are carpet bombings of the radical left. H.R. 4 is a more surgical strike at the heart of our constitutional republic, and that is a respect for the fact that we are a federation of states. We are a nation that respects the fact that voters and voting are best when they are married up at the local level. This is a federal takeover, guys. That's all it is. It would radically and fundamentally change the nature of our constitutional republic. and it would, in fact, put under the control of the federal government any major move a state wanted to make it harder to cheat, but make it easier to vote. And that's what we have started to see across this nation. State legislatures want to make it easy to vote, but hard to cheat. They don't want to have a situation where one legally cast ballot is negated by an illegally cast ballot. And so, for instance, guys, initiatives at the state level that want to make sure that you verify the accuracy of your voter registration list, verify citizenship of voters, require voter ID, limit absentee balloting, where you don't have absentee voting for weeks on end for any reason. All of these things would be subject to the federal government's approval. And right now, the Democrats in charge of the Justice Department are basically saying that these actions, these policies, are no-goes. And that is crazy. Look, these guys have taken advantage of something, the crisis of 2020. Just think about it. We had individual phenomena and events in 1918. We had the Spanish pandemic. In 1929, we had major economic disruption. In 1968, we had violence and urban riots. And in 1974, we had an impeachment crisis with Nixon. But guess what? In 2020, we had all of those things in 1 year, and these guys have never wanted to let a crisis go to waste, and they're trying to fundamentally change our system.
Well, let me ask you, again, we're talking to Ken Blackwell concerning H.R. 1 and H.R. 4. And again, more people are probably familiar, as you described it, H.R. 1 as a carpet bombing. I mean, we're just going to totally redo everything. It was interesting. I've got some audio from AOC. She was on CNN last night and basically says, well, we've got to ensure that we can win. That's why we need to pass H.R. 1 and H.R. 4. But every now and then the truth slips out. But do you think that H.R. 1 was a Trojan horse to sneak in H.R. 4?
I do. I personally do. Like I said, they are trying to make it look as if this is a more reasonable approach. H.R. 1 was an attack on our First Amendment rights, our voting rights, the sovereignty of our states. But this, within the context of elections, this is just as lethal. And for me, the greatest challenge we as a people face in our 245th year as a constitutional republic is, do we have the moral courage and the political will to check the ever-increasing capacity for self-destruction? And that is a call that I'm putting out. We must fight back. We must not let the radical left fundamentally change the nature of our constitutional republic. The founders and the framers of our Constitution, they did a great thing. They understood, as Aristotle did, that there was a dynamic between the organized power of the state and individual liberty. So constitutionally, they put a harness on the reach and the power of the federal government. And these radical leftists are now trying to make our central or federal government more muscular, and it has a direct impact not only just on the sovereignty of our states, but on individual liberty.
Let me just say for our listeners, this H.R. 4 would basically restore a key provision of the Voting Rights Act of 1965, which was struck down by the Supreme Court in 2013, because they basically were saying the federal government can dictate to states, certain things, how the districts are going to be drawn up, for example, but they were relying upon information that is now 47 years old, and but they want to restore that.
Yeah, and not only that, guys. Look, that applied to about 11 states and some counties that were not in the South that had a pattern of discrimination. So it was very limited. What this new initiative will do is make it apply to all 50 states.
So the Department of Justice can come in and say, we think you're doing it illegally, and we're going to dictate how you're going to do your election.
Yeah, and the way I frame it, it means that the federal government can come in and just negate those reforms. Look, they have gotten in bed with woke corporations, and the most logical to me is, for instance, Major League Baseball, when they came out and said that it was racist, and they moved the All-Star game from Atlanta to Denver because the state legislature in Georgia wanted to have voter IDs. Well, if I left tickets for you guys for the Cincinnati Reds when you come to visit my fair city at the will call window, to get those tickets, what do you have to do? You have to show some form of ID. This hypocrisy is nauseating.
Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Blackwell, this is Benny. I was reading your op-ed from several weeks ago. I think you did maybe in Breitbart, and it talked about some of the challenges of this. If things occur, let's just say in North Carolina, we want to appropriately clean up our voter rolls because they're just old, and we see that all the time where we'll see a person hadn't lived somewhere in 12 years, but they still have their address there. But if we start doing things like this and they challenge us as hey, we're trying to suppress the vote, one thing you talked about in your op-ed was hey, if we got to challenge this kind of issue, we're going to be in D.C. court, and of course everybody knows about D.C. court system. So talk about if that process goes through.
That's just part of a very clever system that they have for a federal takeover of elections. Perhaps the most liberal court in the country now is the D.C. federal court. Any change in a state's, if this would pass, any change in a state's voting policies and practices would in fact have to be approved by the federal government. If it was not approved by the federal government and they took us to court, that liberal court could say that it's racist. It has an adverse impact on minorities, for states to clean up their voter rolls, and therefore you would be stuck with corrupted voter rolls. And we know what happens with corrupt voter rolls. People, in fact, you have dead folks voting. And you only just have that in Chicago and Illinois. You have it all across the country.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, during the last election, it was obviously, there was all sorts of improprieties, or at least some irregularities that conservatives were concerned about. And I had to caution my conservative friends when they say, we just need the federal government in a national election take over. I mean, they really don't understand the importance of our Constitution and the importance of states' rights, and why the Constitution was written. We didn't want everything to be controlled by an area of 50 square miles.
And just think about it. There are two things that you want to have control in elections. You want to make sure that you have a tight chain of custody. That means that you don't want too many hands touching the ballot after it leaves the hand of the voter before it is counted. And the other is verification. You want to make sure that a voter is who he or she claims to be, and that their ballot is a legally cast ballot. Under this system that H.R. 4 would advocate and H.R. 1 is advocating, it would loosen the chain of custody. You would have things like ballot harvesting, ballot curing. You would have private money in selected counties, as we had in this past election. And as a consequence, people at the local level would totally lose control over the process that would be ripe for corruption. And what it would do is destroy confidence in the accuracy and the legitimacy of the vote count. And that's a real problem.
We're talking to Ken Blackwell about H.R. 1 and H.R. 4. Ken, as a black man, how irritated do you get when you're constantly told that the black race is not capable of taking care of themselves, and we got to have the nanny state come in? And I mean, is there anything that the Democrats can put forward without having racial overtones attached to it?
No, I don't think so. That's why they are so interested in trying to link these common sense reforms to Jim Crow, and that is, they try to make it sound as if asking that you have a voter ID is tantamount to asking a voter how many jelly beans are in this jar, and that's what they did in the 60s and the
right.
50s. That was Jim Crow. I mean, the fact that what these reforms are doing is tightening the chain of custody, improving verification systems, and to suggest that when you need a voter ID or you need some form of ID to take out a library book, to cash a check, to buy a 6-pack of beer, that all of a sudden black folks are incapable of using some form of ID in a culture that demands ID. I mean, I just came from Cincinnati to Washington, D.C. on Delta. Delta, the same airline that basically said they thought that the reforms
right.
in Georgia were racist. They asked me to see ID before I got on their plane. And not only that, they demanded that I have a mask on.
But you had to pull the mask down so they could they could see who you were, right? Yeah. Oh, it's crazy. Yeah, Ann Coulter came out with a op-ed today talking about voting rights, and in quotation marks, it's racist not to let Democrats cheat. And that's basically what it amounts to. Joe Manchin has come out and said he's against H.R. 1, but he's for H.R. 4. Now, H.R. 1, I understand, has got to have a 60-vote threshold. Does H.R. 4 also need 60 votes?
Well, I think so, but I'm keeping my eyes on Joe Manchin. That was an old college defensive linebacker, and my coach used to tell me, keep your eyes focused on his belly button because he will try to give you a head fake every time. So I'm zeroed in on Joe Manchin's belly button, because I want to make sure he doesn't give me a head fake on this. There's not a dime's bit of difference, and Joe cannot give up on the filibuster to pass, the HR 4. It is more lethal. But this all came about. Now it is somehow racist to raise questions about the anomalies, of the 2020 election. And as someone who has administered elections statewide, I thought it was interesting that every president who has gained votes in re-election in a re-election campaign has also won re-election for the last 150 years.
Yep.
Trump gained 11 million more votes than he had in 2016, but Biden somehow pulled off a miracle. I mean, and again, you don't have to say it's fraud, but if you don't say that at least makes your eyebrows go up. Here is a guy who in fact shattered the popular vote record, but won only a record low of 17% of the counties.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah. Listen, you're singing off the same choir sheet that Benny and I sing off of. We're there with you. It's unbelievable.
And I think it's pretty clever too that they name it the John Lewis Voting Rights Act.
Yeah.
A civil rights leader, and so if I come out against that, what am I going to be labeled in Congress?
Yeah, well, you're the advocate of Jim Crow. But I'll just leave you guys with this. Look, Thomas Paine said it, and I say it all across this country. Those who expect to reap the blessings of freedom must undergo the fatigue of defending and supporting it.
Yep.
We cannot let up.
Well said. Ken Blackwell, thank you, sir. Listen, this has been great. Hope to have you on again.
Look forward to it, guys.
Okay.
God
Thank
bless.
you, Ken.
Take care. God bless.
Stay with us. Benny and I'll be right back.
Break the chain. Eat local. Tiebreakers.
Hey, this is Hank Hinton back here at Full Service Flooring in Winterville. I'm here today with Corey Little, who's the operations manager here at Full Service Flooring. Corey's been here 6 months, but you've been in construction a long time. Tell us about what you do here at Full Service Flooring.
Yeah, I got over here about 6 months ago. I've been in construction for, like I said, a little over 20 years, and I've known Tim for a long time now, and he's brought me over here to see what new kind of things I can bring to the store and to our customers. And I'm in charge of scheduling, and I don't know what else. I'm in charge of everything. It seems like we work together as a team and try to pull it all together. I might do a measure one day and do a commercial floor the next day, but we just kind of all work together and pull it all together at one time.
So what's new in flooring? What is the hot new thing?
The hot new thing is LVP or LVT, depending on what you're looking for, which look you're looking for. It's a waterproof product. It's absolutely fantastic. You can't really beat it.
A lot cheaper than hardwoods?
It is definitely a cost-effective alternative to hardwoods, yes, sir.
So, Corey, how is business right now?
And business is good. Despite the pandemic, we're still seeing a lot of new customers in the store, and we get an opportunity to introduce our products in a lot of different situations right now.
Corey, you've got a lot of experience in the construction industry. How is that helping you here with people, helping people with flooring here at Full Service Flooring?
Sure. I try to take the experiences that I've gained over my time in construction to help apply that to the flooring, whether it be with what the structure is made out of, the subfloor that we're going over top of, or maybe even just how it coordinates with your kitchen cabinets in construction or in your bathroom and how the tub and everything all ties together.
And a customer can just come here and see you anytime?
Absolutely. We're here 6 days a week, and we just love to see a new customer in here anytime. They can always call us and schedule something with us so we can make sure we have our time allotted for them.
Corey, thank you so much. That's Corey Little here at Full Service Flooring. Come see these guys. They're on Tilco Drive in Winterville, 756-9308 and fullserviceflooring.com.
In North Carolina, we get up before the sun rises and stay up into the wee hours of the night. We believe in working hard and playing harder. Behind every meal, there's a farmer, and behind every farmer, there's got to be NC, the official state identity program for North Carolina agricultural products. Look for the Got to Be NC logo wherever you shop or eat, and you'll know you're getting a quality product grown, raised, caught, or made.
Back to the show that really makes you think.
He is a genius.
He's all powerful.
He brought a kind of heat.
He could be the best. Just don't hurt yourself, okay? More news and views on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
Welcome back in, and again, happy birthday to Donald Trump. He is 75 today on this Flag Day. Taking a look at your weather forecast.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Happy birthday, Mr. President. Tonight, a chance of thunderstorms, mainly early morning, tomorrow morning around 4 a.m., and chance is only 30%, but you might have a thunder boomer come through. Tomorrow, again, a slight chance of thunderstorms in the morning and maybe some in the late afternoon. Otherwise, sunny with a high near 89. Same for tomorrow night. So, again, the chance of rain this week, a lot less than last week. It's going to be anywhere from 20% to 30% throughout the week. and a high will be in the upper 80s with a low around 70 each night. So when we were talking to Ken Blackwell, impressive guy. It's the second time we've had him on the air, and very knowledgeable guy. I love his common sense. I mentioned Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez. She was on CNN Sunday night talking about H.R. 1 and how important it was that we pass H.R. 1. As Ken called it, it is a carpet bombing bill on election integrity. The Democrats, it's called the For the People's Act. They were asking her about this bill. They're also asking about what will happen at the Supreme Court, and will we get a new justice on the Supreme Court? And she said, "Well, we can't depend on that. So this is why we got to make sure we pass this. Otherwise, we might not win the elections." Here she is. This is cut 2, Clark.
Your fellow Democrat, Mondaire Jones, says 82-year-old Justice Stephen Breyer should retire so that President Biden and Senate Democrats can fill his seat with a younger, liberal successor. Do you think that Justice Breyer should step down after this term?
Well, I believe Representative Jones has a point, and we have had very difficult experiences with making, I believe, the opposite mistake. And especially if Senate Democrats are not going to pass reforms on H.R. 1, we cannot rely solely on a wish of winning elections, particularly in the Senate, when voting rights are under attack in Georgia, Arizona, and Texas, across the country. And if we're not going to pass H.R. 1 with the preemptive clauses that can roll some of that voter suppression attacks back, yeah, I believe that we should protect our Supreme Court, and I thought that should absolutely be a consideration.
In other words, Ann Coulter was right. This is their open license to cheat. We cannot rely solely on a wish of winning elections. We need to get the justices on the Supreme Court, and we need H.R. 1. Because we can't wish for elections. We got to do something to make sure we win them.
Every time she speaks, I'm convinced that people in New York are really stupid.
I don't get it.
I just can't imagine her winning an election. Where's the news media, CNN or whoever, just in the mainstream media in general, when these Democrats, including Joe Biden, actually start talking about expanding the court, increasing the number of states, all these things that for decades, over 100 years, it's just wouldn't be kosher. I mean, it wouldn't be something you talk about. If Donald Trump talked about expanding the court, what in the world would be said?
Can you imagine?
And they're just silent about it. Just amazes me.
That's true.
Molly Hemingway came out with an interesting story today. When Donald Trump, in the midst of the riots, and he decided he was going to go after they tried to burn, it was a St. John's Church down across from the White House.
Lafayette Park, across from Lafayette Park.
Yeah, people are now calling it the Lafayette lie. He went out there, held up his Bible, and they said, "Oh, well, he used tear gas to disperse the rioters, so he could have a photo op holding up a Bible." And for more than a year, the mayor of Washington, D.C., Muriel Bowser, has allowed Donald Trump to take the blame for what her police force had done. The first speaker at the Democratic National Convention in August of last year was Muriel Bowser. The person introducing Bowser referenced the clearing of the street in front of the White House earlier that summer as an operation the media had repeatedly falsely characterized as the violent removal of peaceful protesters with tear gas for the sole purpose of a photo op for President Trump. Quote, this is what they said when they introduced Muriel Bowser at the convention. When peaceful protesters were tear gassed across from the White House, our next speaker stood up, stood strong, and turn that place into a Black Lives Matter plaza in their honor. Please welcome Mayor Muriel Bowser. A new report, new IG report's come out and has confirmed that it was Bowser, not Trump, who tear gassed the protesters. This is unbelievable. I mean, stop and consider the fact that what happened after that, that spurred more rioting. And Bowser just stood there. She kept her mouth shut for a year.
Right.
Let Donald Trump lose the election. Let Donald Trump take the blame. Look at the rioting that's taking place. And this is all Donald Trump's fault. And the media, the media's not going to report on this.
No.
I mean, if you're not listening to us right now or reading Molly Hemingway at the Federalist, you're not going to hear much about this. Maybe if Molly's on Fox News tonight, you might hear it.
And I know with the park police, early on said we didn't use tear gas, and they wouldn't listen to them. I mean, they didn't listen to them at all.
Yeah.
And
of course, the park police are the feds.
Yeah, and that was within the first, actually, few days or within a couple of weeks. That no, we did not deploy tear gas.
The reports come more than a year after the corporate press, other Democrats, and even some anti-Trump Republicans had filled news cycles with outrage over Trump allegedly tear-gassing peaceful protesters for a photo op. For example, Joe Biden tweeted at the time, he's using the American military against American people. He tear-gassed peaceful protesters and fired rubber bullets for a photo. For our children, for the very soul of our country, we must defeat him. But I mean it when I say this, we can only do it together. Sass slammed the president for clearing protesters for his photo op. NPR came out with a tweet. Police in Washington, D.C. used tear gas and rubber bullets on peaceful protesters to clear away from St. John's Church, which suffered a small fire that nearly burned the place to the ground near the White House. President Trump then walked to the church for a photo op. It makes you sick.
Yeah, he went out after it was already clear. I mean, that decision was made well after. He didn't have anything to do with that.
No.
But they won't report it.
No.
Nope.
I mean, how in the world Bowser can keep from being totally embarrassed? Well, it's not hard for a Democrat.
Washington, D.C. idiots will keep voting for him.
Yeah, they will. We'll be right back.
Your trade has never been worth more. Get paid to trade at Greenville Toyota. Sell us your old car for cash, up to 125% of book value. Or trade up to Camry, just $189 a month. Get paid to trade. Now at Greenville Toyota.
Anything could happen ever since I met you. Let me take you dancing.
Introducing Pepsi Mango.
Air Service is back at Pitt Greenville Airport, offering safe, clean facilities and flights from American Airlines. That means the short commute, quicker lines, and better prices that get you where you're going fast and easy. See it for yourself. There's great things inside at Pitt Greenville Airport.
Sawyer's Fun Park in Winterville is now open. With over 40,000 square feet of family fun, daily money-saving deals, and a full-service restaurant, Sawyer's Fun Park is guaranteed to have something the whole family will love. Test your ninja skills on our 2-story obstacle course or head over to one of our 5 rock walls and race your friends to the top. And when you've worked up an appetite in our laser tag arena or our one-of-a-kind ropes course, grab a table over at the restaurant and try our world-famous Southern Monster Fries. Reserve your spot today at SawyersFunPark.com and come join in on the fun.
My name is Dr. Neeti Armistead, Chief Medical Officer for Vidant Health. The following simple steps will help keep you and your community safe. Stay home as much as possible, wear a mask when out in public, avoid large gatherings, practice social distancing, and wash hands often. It's also important not to delay needed care. Vidant has taken important steps to provide you and your family with a safe environment. Learn more about COVID-19 and Vidant's response. Call 252-847-8000 or visit vidanthealth.com/COVID-19.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
This one's for everyone who spends the amount of time it would take to watch a movie, agreeing on which movie to watch. You've compromised enough. Pepsi Zero Sugar.
Get paid to trade at Greenville Toyota. We'll pay you up to 125% of book value, even if you don't buy from us. Or trade up to Corolla, just $159 a month. Don't settle for less. Get more for your trade. Now at Greenville Toyota.
Air Service is back at Pitt Greenville Airport, offering safe, clean facilities and flights from American Airlines. That means the short commute, quicker lines, and better prices that get you where you're going fast and easy. See it for yourself. There's great things inside.
Man, I've got certain information, all right? Certain things have come to light, and this could be a lot more complex. I mean, it's not just, it might not be just such a simple, you know?
Sharing certain information is perfect for the Drive at 5 with Tom and Beanie.
What in God's holy name are you blathering about?
News now and when it breaks, with lots of blathering in between.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm blathering about.
Welcome back to News and Views on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
Beanie and Cecil.
Beanie. Oh, we didn't pay that guy much for that.
By the way, there has been one blue marlin that has been brought in. It was 448 pounds. Not enough to win the first fish prize. How much was that prize going to be?
It's going to be about
800,000.
Yeah, 882,000. There's two boats still hooked up right now: Marlin Fever and Slow Your Roll.
Okay, so Following Seas brought in the first one, but it wasn't big enough. So there you go. So the Big Rock continues. Will Michael Jordan be a winner? We'll see. Hey, thanks for being with us. Our thanks to Ken and Blackwell, and we'll do it again tomorrow at 5. We'll see you then. Bye-bye, everybody.
All right, all right, all right. In North Carolina, we get up before the sun rises and stay up into the wee hours of the night. We believe in working hard and playing harder. Behind every meal, there's a farmer, and behind every farmer, there's Got to Be NC, the official state identity program for North Carolina agricultural products. Look for the Got to Be NC logo wherever you shop or eat, and you'll know you're getting a quality product grown, raised, caught, or made in North Carolina.
We're on location at Fabric and Home Furnishings, and I'm back with my friend Lisa Pendry. And Lisa's been telling me about all the great renovations that have been going on here in the store, and I've been looking around, and it looks fantastic. Tell us what you've done here.
Well, we've knocked some walls down, we've painted, we've added some new vendors, lots of new exciting things going on. So we're making room for everybody to get what they need to transform their homes.
Looks fantastic in here. Last time we talked, you were saying that you were able to deliver a lot faster than most other furniture stores. Is that still the case?
It is. It's changed a little bit, but we're still looking at around 8 to 10 week delivery, and we do sell our floor samples right off the floor.
All right, we always say that Fabric and Home Furnishings is more than just a fabric store, so tell us what the more is all about. What when people come in, what should they expect?
Well, we love to get to know our customers. I have the best crew I've ever had, and everybody on my team is an interior designer. So we offer in-home design service, which we always have, but now they can each come out to your home after they work with you in here, figure out what's going on in your residence or your commercial property to pull it together and help you make everything beautiful.
You got great folks here.
I do.
I can tell you, I haven't gotten to know them. It's like a family when you come in here, and everybody gets along well, and you can tell that these guys and gals really know what they're talking about when it comes to interior design.
They do, and that's really what makes us different. We offer complete in-home design service. We don't charge a by-the-hour fee. It's a flat one-time fee. We work with you in here, in your home, in your business, and help pull everything together.
All right, it's more than just a fabric store. Fabric and Home Furnishings in Arlington Village. Come see this lady. She's fantastic. Fabric and Home Furnishings. Come see the renovations here in Arlington Village. And thank you for the visit today.
Thank you, Henry.
All right, you got to come see what they've done in the store here on Arlington Boulevard in Arlington Village.